Hello everyone, and welcome back to a new episode of Silicon Zeros. In the last episode, what did we do exactly? We did, I think, threes, ones, and flip? Oh, and we did instructions and set memory. And, flip and threes? I think we'd already done ones? I'm not sure. Anyway, let's take a look at multiply before we do dragging, which looks like it's supposed to be pretty easy. I just want to see what this is about. Dana, great news. Found a big client. There's only one problem. They want a machine that for every 3 slots sets the third to the product of the first and second. Set slot 2 to 1 times 0 and so on. Yeah, this seems pretty hard. Because we're gonna need to be able to do a loop where we add. I mean, I've implemented multiplication in a lot of these programming puzzle games, and the sort of general algorithm is like if value A is not 0, then add value B to your output area and subtract 1 from A, and then go back. That's going to be the basic approach here, but I'm not sure how to actually control the timing of all of that. I think I need more experience with the tools available to me in this game before I'm ready to tackle this one. And it's marked as difficult on purpose, so that's fine with me. We'll leave it for now. Dragging. Laszlo's off trying to placate the investors. Jack doesn't seem to be around anywhere, and neither of them left any plan for what to work on. Ain't that typical? Well, while we've got a little peace, how about going back to basics for a moment? Connect modules so that the adder's output is 2. I ain't got so much as a soldering iron on me, so you'll need to connect modules by dragging their ports adjacent instead of clicking on the ports. So this is teaching us something that, oops. While you were working on that, I was thinking, we're just about out of money. Our big business guy has gone missing, but it's fine, I have a plan. Nice capital B. So you can, I saw this on the developer blog that I was looking at once I found out this game existed. You can connect things by bumping them up against each other, and then the wires stay connected. So that's useful for things where it's like, this has 7 outputs, and the other thing has 7 inputs. Like, okay, great. You don't have to drag a bunch of wires. Okay, cool, so that was super easy. Reg file. We're gonna have to skip payroll this month. We need every dollar for equipment. We're gonna build that CPU after all, and once we have it in production, we'll all be rich. I like this plan. Before we start on a full CPU, we need another component. CPUs store data in a register file, or registers, values numbered 0 through 7 stored in registers. Place registers that can store at least 8 values and execute the instructions from memory on them. Set R. Okay. So do I have a new piece? Yeah, I have a register. It has... I have 8 registers. Incredible. So what does it do? Stores and outputs values which are set to their inputs at the start of each tick. But I assume if the values are empty, then the register value is left alone. Okay. So let's see. We need an instruction decoder. I guess we need a counter, right? And that's here. Uh-oh, what have I done? I made the mistake. Delete. I want the counter, which is here. Okay, so take all this, put it here. Give me a reader, please. Okay. wired up. We've decoded the instruction. Actually, I can, like, maybe something like this is legible. Yeah. And, so now I think just a simple output selector is all we need, right? Yes. But one with 8 slots, please. So the value is this. The slot number to write it on is this. And then we just get these two to kiss and make up, and here we go, right? Test. Go. Cool. Alright, I just got off the phone with Laszlo. He showed the investors all the projects we've been working on and got enough cash to last for another month. With that, we can build the CPU. And with that, we can go public, and then we'll all be rich. We're really building a CPU, huh? When Carol and Laszlo said we're not getting paid, I worried. It's not often a company comes back after it goes that low. How dramatic. But it looks like you're about to pull it off. Execute all instructions. So we have set R and save are the two kinds of instructions we need to understand now. Set R and I can't set specify. Okay, so it's like okay. Save. Oh, so this is like indirection here. Save the value in register 7. No, the value in register 3 into the memory in register 7. Ooh. Okay. So do I have any? I don't have any new bits and pieces. But my input decoder will give me a value from. Okay. Let's see. Give me my. Give me this. And a reader. Wired up to here. Okay, so a set R is a 1. We'll see what the other one is in a moment, I guess. So now what? We need... Well, okay, one thing we clearly need is some registers. And these registers need an output selector. With 8 slots, wired up like so. And we do want like this to happen, sort of. Except we don't really, because we need like an input selector here to decide who to send this value to. So this would work if every instruction were a set R. We've already done that though. What we actually need is to, after decoding this, decide whether to pass it through to this guy, which is writing, or to a different guy who's reading. So that's what we're going to need the input selector for. Give it 8 inputs as well. And lop it in over here. But I think we need an additional output selector to decide which of these two guys to give an instruction to. So let's take one of these. And so this 68 can just go here, no problem. But this set R is the output selector here. And the value... Oh my gosh, wait a minute. These are using different... They're using the source to mean different things, but one of them has a target and one of them has a destination. Okay. So, so the destination can always go here. We're not using it for the other one. And the target on this one is what exactly? So on this one, the source is... the value or the number of the register that we're reading? Yeah. And that's this. So we actually can't just pass this through because we might need to send it here. Okay. So let's take this, send it here. We need one of these somehow. Can I zoom out? Yes. Alright, let's put it up top maybe. And if it was a set R, then we'll pass it through to here, no problem. Let's just like grab all this stuff and make some more room. Okay. And otherwise, what am I doing with the source in this case? It's the register number to read. I'm not sure which output to use, and I won't be until we like... Actually, I just started a test so I can see. So skip ahead to a save, please. Save. Save is a 7. Okay, so this thing needs to have a bunch of slots. So it has to have 8 slots, because save is the last one. Fine. And if we test this again, we should see it light up in the bottom there. Yeah, now suddenly there's a 6 here. Okay. So we want to take this and make it... sorry? Oh, I did this wrong. It's supposed to be like that. Wire this up to here. Okay. So that's all fine. So first of all, does this thing, like, work for writing values yet? Yeah, we're putting values into the register as planned. And now we just need to do the other half of deciding when to write or when to read a thing. How do I do that exactly? So this destination is always going to there, and target can always go to the other thing, which I guess is going to be a writer? A writer over here. Takes a slot number and a value. Writes the value... Okay, so this says save 3, 7. Register 7. Wait, I'm gonna have to read this thing twice. Aren't I? Once to get the value, and once to see where to put it. Huh. That's a little bit tricky. Whew. This is suddenly getting a lot harder. If it were just... Save? If it were just like a hard-coded place to save to, it would be much simpler. I don't want to say very simple, but... So how can I read from my register set twice? In a way, I think, I can't do it in a single tick, right? I have to do it over the course of 2 ticks. Because there's only ever one value coming out of an output selector. Or an input selector, or whatever. So that means I need to slow everything down to match the fact that we're actually taking 2 cycles. But that's no big deal. I can just throw another latch in front of this. I guess that's an easy thing to start with, right? How do I... So I want this to go here. And I want this to go wherever that's going, which is here. So now we have a counter that goes up less quickly, so we have 2 cycles worth of stuff to do. Right? But is that actually the way to do it? I feel like what I kind of need to do is have this thing, which is outputting a source and a destination. I need to have it put one of those into a latch that I can reuse next tick to decide how to read from this. And then have this thing write its first output to a latch so that it can resync back up with that first value. So I'm going to need 2 more modules, 2 more latches, if I'm going to do it this way, which seems like the way to do it to me. And let's say source is the one that we don't delay. We get to source right away. That's this thing here. Gets read here and output into a latch. Then wait. How do we tell this thing which of its 2 inputs to read from? That is to say, we want this to do 2 things depending on the current tick, right? How is this only 3 stars? This is a nightmare. So let me grab, I think I need my alternator now. I can't have a subtract. Well, whatever, I'll just add -1, I guess. So give me a number set to -1. This feels like so roundabout. But I think it is like sort of the only way to do this? I don't know. So now we have this thing which will output around somewhere. Oh, and I needed to attach this to a 1? Yeah. Here we go. So now it'll output either a 1 or a 0. And we'll use that to know where we are in the phase of the sort of, you imagine the waveform of like the computer's doing these things, and on odd numbered turns it needs to read a thing, and then on even numbered turns it needs to read a different thing, and we're going to use this to know which of those two we're in. So I suppose we should take this and put it over here where it's up here, where it's going to be useful, because we kind of want it to be near this guy. The idea is going to be that we need another input selector for this guy to decide whether it's reading from this, which was the source value, or this, which is the target value. So give me an input selector driven from here. Wait, no, that's right, from here. To read either from here, which is what we want to happen first, or from here. That's telling us which register we're actually reading. And we're going to use that to tell this guy which register to read. Fine. But we also need this is messy because, isn't it? Maybe it's fine. I think it's fine. We also need an output selector to decide whether to write the output from this into a latch or directly to memory. So we're reading first at time 0, we're reading from this, which is the source. So that's the value that we will need to read, not where we need to read it to. Not where we need to write it to. Okay, so we'll save that in a latch, and then a turn later send it here. Oh, whoops, except it's coming from here. So its input is this, and what it's reading from is here. Or which input to use is that. But it writes either that or that, depending on what stage we're at in the pipeline. This one looks so much more complicated than anything I've built before. I'm really worried that I'm overcomplicating things tremendously here. But I think we need to do something pretty complicated to be able to read, to do an indirect memory lookup, basically, right? Yeah, because we're setting register... Wait, am I... Well, it's not an indirect memory lookup, right? It's a register lookup saved to an address. Yeah, it's an indirect memory, right? We're looking in a register to decide what memory slot to write to. Alright, I have no idea how this is going to go, but I am just dying to see what is happening here. By the way, like, do the left and right arrow keys do anything? Oh, they move the tick. I kind of wish that something would let me pan around with the keyboard. Having to use this kind of sucks. Mouse drag is like the worst. super slow. Anyway, and it seems like the arrow keys don't do anything super useful. Maybe maybe WASD when you're in test mode could do that? I don't know. D seems to be doing something. It's making a clicking noise. So is F? And G? That's weird. I don't know what those do yet. Oh, it's toggling this thing here. Alright, well let's reset. No. Basic CPU. Test. So what happens in cycle 1? We've already tested. We wrote a 68. Great. In cycle 2, nothing has happened yet because we... Alright, let's actually start over. Because I want to make sure that this thing is doing okay. We changed what's happening over here to slow stuff down. So we have not advanced to the next instruction yet. Okay. Now we're about ready to write a 13, and that happened. And we write the 13 again, but it doesn't matter. Now what happens? Okay, this is exciting. We've read this save says its source is 6, which means we need to read the value from register 6. So we're sending this along to here, and we're selecting this value because we're in the first phase, and we're therefore sending that to here, saying, I need the value in register 6, please. That 13, which is what was stored in register 6, look at that, is coming up to this selector, which says, since we're in stage 0 of the pipeline, we should send that to the memory slot? I see. I'm doing this a bit backwards. I need to write to the latch first and then the memory slot. I can't just do them in whatever order was convenient. So I need stage 0 to be right to the memory slot. So I'll make that change. Send this here and this here. What is still connected to this? Oh, this is, because we didn't, okay. So now stage 0 is right. Did I get these right? Save the value in register. So get the value, okay, so this one goes here. And this goes here. Would it help to do this maybe? Yeah, that sort of looks a little better. Okay, let's try that again. Okay, we're now processing this save. We take 6. That's the register we want to read. 13. 13 we dump into this latch, but we don't use it yet. Later, we're going to store it. But in this next tick, we have to determine where to store it. And so therefore, we are now in phase 1, which means instead of the 6 we're getting from the source, which we are still getting, but we're ignoring, we're going to look at the target, which is 3. We're going to look up register 3, and its input is 68, or its value is 68. I have a lot of trouble keeping target, dest, and source straight in this save instruction, remembering which is which. It's not easy. Okay, and since we're now in phase 1 of our alternator, we take that 68 and we send it to the memory address. And we write a 13 there. Is that our goal? It is. Oh, how cool is that? Alright, let's run. See what happens. Look at that, we have a 13 right where we wanted it. Out of time? How am I supposed to do this in... What instruction had I gotten up to? Set R32 of 3? So apparently I'm supposed to be able to do this without a two-stage instruction pipeline. Oh, I was so pleased with myself for having finally figured this heck of a puzzle out. How do I read two values from this? In the same tick. I mean, I could have duplicate copies of every register if I wanted, right? I could have, you can't, wait. You can have a single output drive multiple inputs. So like, we could have two wires connected to, say, this register, for example. Oh. So that means I could just create another input selector connected to the same set of registers, read it at the same time, and then output both of them in that same tick. And I don't need this whole alternator thing. So, on the one hand, I'm kind of, like, annoyed that I didn't realize I could do this. I tricked myself by putting this physically against this thing and believing that it was therefore the only thing that could read it. But actually, anything can read it. I can add another reader that reads the same registers. It'll be fine. The problem is just like that it looks like a solid unit, so I didn't think I could do it. And only when the puzzle told me, like, no, it definitely is possible, did I rethink my assumptions. So on the one hand, I'm a little bit annoyed with myself about that. But on the other, like, I'm quite pleased that I figured out how to build a multi-stage instruction execution pipeline in case that were necessary. You know, storing the values in latches so I can use them next turn. And so I kind of would like to save this somehow. To say, like, hey, this is a pretty cool thing. Now, I mean, certainly I can save it by just, like, dumping it in my palette, but this is not something I ever want to reuse, I don't think. This is a weird... The selection box is behaving very strangely with mouse drag. I just want to, like, have it in my Hall of Fame, right? Alright, whatever. Well, we'll make a new thing. Fine. And in the meantime, now I'm done with all that, I can delete this, send this to here and to here, pull these guys closer, and I don't know what the right way to lay this out is, but so instead of having this input selector, we're gonna throw that away. And likewise, we don't need this output selector. We just are gonna have another one of these up here. And conveniently, the target will never be set unless we're saving. So it's good that these two instructions don't ever use the same sets of registers, because we're sort of counting on the fact that they don't overlap to mean that we won't be doing anything. Anyway, so we'll just write, what is this? A latch? We don't need that anymore. One of these goes here, and the other one goes here. And so register save from... I wish instead of specified by register 3, it just said like source, so I could look up like what save is. But alright, whatever. Save from 6. So source is the register that should be a value, right? Yeah. And that's this. This is source. So this goes to here. And the other one... Oh, I lined this up wrong. There we go. This is fed by here. And these two come together to write a thing. I think this is better now. I think this works. Let's put it all a bit closer together. It doesn't need to be so sprawling. Test. So writing to registers still works fine. And now we're writing to memory as well. Okay, whew. That was... If I'd just seen that, I wouldn't have wasted... I wouldn't have... Well, I won't say wasted. I wouldn't have spent so much time on this. But it was cool to figure out. I've thought a lot about quitting. First Jack, then missing payroll. My husband thought I should leave, and maybe I was a little crazy not to. But I felt loyal to all of you, so I stayed. And now things are coming together. If we're the first people selling CPUs, we'll all be rich. We'll all be rich! A little hard to believe. Feels unreal, but maybe good things can happen? So we could have used one fewer module, huh? Which one? What about this output selector? What is this doing for me? Nothing, right? It's not doing anything. We'll just take this value and plug it in here. Now we don't need this. That was for when we needed to do, like, something clever? Ah, well, I was thinking I needed to switch based on what the opcode was, but it turns out since they have non-overlapping arguments, we can just sort of let nothing happen if one of the needed arguments is empty, right? Yeah. In the future, we'll need something like that if we have more complicated sets of instructions to work with. But for now, this is fine. Alright, that was... I forget if it was... I think this was only like... I don't know, maybe this was multiple puzzles, but it was... This has been a longer episode than the previous ones for sure. And I think that that we are definitely done for now. So, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.